Well, I just had my meeting as far as recently, as far as with our superintendent. We all met with her before this forum. Actually, the last, 2 or 3 weeks we met with her. And one of the key questions I asked her was basically this: what involvement or what have we done to pursue involvement from local business and other entities, and also the city? She said that there's I think a panel that's working on that. And I kind of looked and said, it's kind of weird, you know. I asked, specifically how the city could be involved. And I know the city is strapped, so funding from the city is probably not going to be coming the school board's way real soon. But it brings up another situation because it ties into another key element here. We've talked, all of us, or a lot of us, have talked about this lease, okay? We've all talked about the lease, and we've all wondered, well, man, this seems like a lot of money, this $3.5 million. Okay, we didn't pursue with the city, except for a very, very basic preliminary standpoint, anything as far as property out of Alameda Point. I actually have served on the RAB out there for a long time. There's a lot of problems out there, a lot of buildings you can use. City would have worked with us, just like business. It's business's best interest to work with us too. Making this a strong, sought-after community only strengthens their role. So, but nonprofits, business, city, all important to get involved. Get all of those involved with our process. How can we all work as a team to improve the city? Thank you.
Trish, Spencer.
Okay, so I will continue to do what I do now. I was PTA council president for 2 years before I was on the school board, which meant as a parent volunteer, I coordinated with all of the PTAs across our island. And while I was PTA president, we put on an event called Save Our Music. And we did that with the help of many musicians here in town, as well as businesses. As a parent, I've been involved in fundraisers. I continue to do this. For instance, at NSNL, different schools here in our community to put on auctions where, yes, we reach out as parents to businesses to get donations and any other assistance we can get. I am currently the co-chair of the Alameda Collaborative for Youth, Children, and Families, and what that is it's a local group of approximately 35 nonprofit organizations from Red Cross, Boy Scouts, hospitals. There's different groups that we always come regularly. When I was PTA council president, I started attending those meetings, so I did that for 2 years before being on the board. I attend currently as a board member. I'm the only board member that goes to every meeting, and as PTA council president, as far as I know, I'm the only PTA council president that ever did that. It is very, very important because not only are these our families that some of our families do benefit from these other organizations, the food bank, for instance, so we can help with communication that way. We are also able to make donations to volunteer hours so that we can be our families can be the beneficiaries and as well as the ones doing the volunteering. So, we represent approximately 9,000 children, a significant number of families. So we are very able when we work together to serve our community. I also collaborate well with our teachers union, our classified staff. I'm the only incumbent to receive their endorsement for this campaign. And truly, I pride myself in my ability to collaborate. Thank you.
Ron Mooney.
Thank you. So continuing the collaboration and the work that we can really have tried to do. As I stated in my opening, I'm on the Alameda Education Foundation, where we're trying to raise money for the entire school district and do major things. Music fundraising is always a key item. After school sports at middle school, the district years ago cut out middle school sports, and the Alameda Education Foundation is able to fund that through grants that we get from various organizations, including the Olympic Club and and a whole lot of other people that just happen to live in Alameda and businesses as well. We collaborate with Peralta colleges and try to make sure that we're working with them. Community schools, we're starting to create something called community schools, full service community schools at the site, at the Woodstock site that has the Boys and Girls Club out at Island. And that's how some of that funding is coming from the San Francisco Foundation. The city, I will tell you, since I moved to Alameda, the city and the school district are working tremendously better. When I first was on the PTA council as legislative advocate for the entire city of Alameda for the PTAs, it was amazing how the city manager and the superintendent didn't even talk, and when even the staff really talked. Now we're having regular subcommittee meetings. We're working through things. It's kind of interesting. I was at a subcommittee meeting where we talked to the city council about the historic Alameda High and that we're going to have to close it and could we get lease space out there. And they referred us to the leasing agent. I specifically talked to the mayor about how can we really come up with a lease out there when they were quoting 40 cents more than what we bought or what we leased out at Marina Village at. So, you know, we are working together with the city. Sometimes things don't work, but certainly between city manager Russo and the superintendent, the communication has drastically improved. But as a policy board, the city council and the school board meet quarterly to talk about issues. Swimming pools come up and all those type of things.
Thank you. Barbara? I never thought of this, so I will be brief. I think the district did a pretty good job in collaborating with the business community when they resolved the issues around the parcel tax, because that was a sticky area that had to be resolved. But I think generally the business community steps up and does what it's asked to do. I think the district cooperates with it. I will go home and think about whether there are other things that could happen, but at the moment I have nothing to say. Mike.
I've always been a believer that to get things done, especially really big things, you have to do it as a team. And I've done that on a number of different occasions here in our city. A good example, as Barbara mentioned, when I was chair of Measure A, that required collaboration with many of the parties in our community. The business associations, the homeowners associations, many of the nonprofits, a lot of our citizens scattered throughout the city, people that generally didn't get along with each other and disagreed with each other, but we managed to pull them together and keep them together to get the vote, to get the results that we needed for Measure A. That's what collaboration takes, and to be honest, between that campaign and the 4 years that I served as president of the community of Harbor Bay Isle, we had so many business dealings and associations going on with business, people in the community, the city, the school district, that it requires, and I have personal contact with many of those people. That's actually what is required. You have to have personal contact with all of those different entities. Again, many of whom don't agree with one another, but that's sort of what you need. You need to be the glue. You need to be able to reframe knowledge of their interests so their interests coincide with your own so you can work together on the same project. And that's what's really required, and that's the process that we would have to use. We'd have to have existing relationships and be able to then reframe interests that they may have so that they coincide with our own so that we can actually work together on something and mutually benefit from that. In other words, get it so that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Great example of that is the lawsuit against the state. We started off with just, they were screwing us on the ADA, so we sued them, but we got everybody else in the state to come along with us. And now if we win, it's just not Alameda kids that benefit, all the kids in the state will benefit. That's the sum that's, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Thank you.
in order to build partnership, I believe that I need to be involved. And through my involvement and commitment, we formed a partnership with the Alameda Family Services. I was on the board, and we have health centers at all the high schools. We formed a partnership with the Boys and Girls Health and the Multicultural Center, providing computer access to students and their parents. I was on both of their boards. I'm still on the boards. We have a partnership with Head Start and the Woodstock Child Development Center. I was the director of the Woodstock Child Development Center, and we were able to create a partnership. We have a partnership with the city and the College of Alameda to provide free dental clinic for children that do not have any dental care, for dental care. This is amazing. Today, I went to Alameda Point Youth Center. They now have a youth center at Alameda Point. And this happened because the Alameda Association of Realtors adopted this project. So magic can happen. When I was principal, I worked with the Tide Foundation and the Warriors. They adopted Washington, and they built two full court basketball courts there. Later, Haight School was adopted, and they also had a basketball court built. When I was principal at Miller, we were able to build two play structures that cost $500,000. The district could not afford it. We collaborated with the city and different foundations to make this happen. I was San Francisco Foundation awardee. We were given $300,000 to address the needs of the families in the West End. It is possible. It's only through involvement can we make a difference.
Thank you. Tom?
That's okay. Oh, that's already right here. One of the things, the partnerships are both the nonprofits, they're the businesses, and they're actually, you can expand that to our advocates in city government, in the state legislature. We have to build the partnerships with them. One of the things I'm most proud of in the PTA Council when I joined was, at the very top of the goal was to expand the partnerships with people like the Boys and Girls Club, APC, Girls Inc., you go down the list. And the goal was to expand AEF, was really, because that's actually at the top of the expansion of the partnership. And we wanted to, the goal was specific, because we knew that each one of these touched our kids. And as Neil said, the Boys and Girls Clubs did one big service for our kids. They provide dental service. They bring in an asthma mobile in. These are all things that will help our kids. But it goes to a bigger, broader thing. These relationships have to be goal-driven. What are we trying to do with the relationships? What are we trying to accomplish? And it comes back to the kids. So for instance, one of the things I would say that we should try, if we really want to do something, was AEF. If you look at every successful school district in the Bay Area, they have a strong educational foundation. I would love, as a board, to say, hey, what can we do to work with AEF to build an endowment fund that we can start funding people? I'll give you an example. The Cupertino Educational, or Unified School District, worked with their educational foundation. They took excess property, set up an MOU with their educational foundation, told the educational foundation, you go out and find a developer to develop this, you get the proceeds of the profits. They used $2 million from the development of that excess land to fund their educational fund. It was a real easy way to do it. It was a partnership, it was a collaboration. And we actually have a piece of property here in the school district. It's called Historic Alameda High School. We don't have the money to rebuild that. But I think as we got real creative, we could go out and find a partnership and get that rebuilt and take some of the money and get it off of school land because it's costing us money. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy?
Thank you. Great ideas, you guys. Absolutely great. I concur. You cannot ignore members of our community, the business sector, private industry, nonprofits. They're our stakeholders, parents, the kids themselves. They're all very important people. You cannot help but have a collaboration plan if we're going to be sustainable. For example, my background has been, I've been a clinical placement coordinator for our schools. I have to go out to the community to find externship sites, internship sites for our CTE programs. And I want to encourage programs like that in the high school level. Particularly, I'd like to have our kids have a career path that feeds into the community. So you get the JOB at the end of the job, that is, at the end of high school, as a entry-level career path for promotion, for greater education. I want to see these kids not be so aimless in the early high school years. I want them to choose a direction like a lot of countries do, a lot of successful countries in their educational programs do. They definitely outreach to the community, businesses. And when our kids have needs, when they are falling through the cracks, and it might be because of socioeconomic conditions, I'd like to see nonprofits, be solicited to help us, to help the kids. There's a lot of churches, there's a lot of like St. Vincent de Paul organizations, there's a lot of organizations in our community in Alameda that they have resources to help our kids. We just have to collaborate and communicate to them about our needs that must be known. Thank you.